We realized when we began this journey of interviewing caregivers of persons with dementia that we would do some of this work during a pandemic, when gaining access to potential interviewees would be challenging, especially when they lived in the homes of the persons who were diagnosed, so that entering the home to conduct an interview was not always possible. As a result, some of our interviews were conducted over the telephone, and others via email responses to the questions we sent to informants. On other occasions, we conducted interviews outside residences where physical distance could be maintained. In other instances, family members conducted the interviews and then sent them to us. The COVID-19 pandemic also introduced another component to the lives of caregivers and those they cared for, as many experienced isolation, loneliness, anxiety, and fear of rejection from neighbors and friends due to the stigma associated with dementia. In some cases, paid caregivers were not comfortable entering homes to provide care and support for fear of contracting the virus, which made caregiving by loved ones even more challenging. Further compounding the need for respite from the 24 hours a day, 7 days a week care that important ones provide, adult day programs, which offer respite relief for caregivers, were closed due to the pandemic, as were other long-term care facilities which have day programs. Some of the people we interviewed told us that they used to take their loved ones for regular doctor's visits for updates on their conditions. So, as one said, at least we got to go for a drive for a reason, and it was an opportunity to get out of the house. Due to COVID-19, doctor's visits were conducted over the telephone, once again isolating both patients and their caregivers from face-to-face social interaction. Many with dementia diagnoses who live in long-term care facilities were not allowed to have visitors. And if and when they were, they could only have a 30-minute visit once a week by appointment only, and they were not allowed physical contact with their loved ones. For families with many relatives, especially in the case of parents with many children, partners and siblings had to decide when and who would visit, meaning that some did not see their loved ones for many weeks. If family members had others living in their homes who worked outside of the province, and they had to self-quarantine for 14 days when returning home, the entire family could not visit a long-term care home. Residents of such facilities with dementia diagnoses often told their loved ones that they felt rejected and orphaned by their families because they did not understand about the pandemic. In some cases, family members purchased cell phones and laptop computers so that their loved ones could see and talk to them virtually, but many times the person with dementia was unable to comprehend how to use the technology, and staff were not always available to assist them with it. One particular story touched us deeply when a man with 6 siblings and a 95-year-old mother who was blind, deaf, and lived in a nursing home decided on a creative solution to allow his mother to know which of her children was visiting. While living in her own home prior to her deteriorating health, every Christmas and birthday, his mother knitted hats, toques, and scarves for each of her children as gifts. He had an old sweater his mother had made for him some years ago, and he placed it in a bag and asked the attendant at the nursing home on his next visit if she would give his mother the sweater, which she agreed to do. When his mother placed the sweater to her face and smelled it, she seemed to know which son was visiting, and she broke into tears, as did he and the care worker. We saw this as a sign of resilience and creativity in challenging times. In spite of our challenges, we continued, undaunted with our research, and the result is a group of narrative accounts on the experiences of some caregivers of persons diagnosed with dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, in various parts of Nova Scotia. We are grateful to all of them for sharing their difficult and sometimes rewarding experiences with us. As well as the interviews with caregivers, we conducted a literature search of the material available on this topic, and we also reviewed the demographic and statistical material.